second letter submitted to Honorable Richard Anthony D. Fadulion, signed by Judge Jaime B. Santiago, states here that on 10 February 2025, this Bureau received the certification dated 05 February 2025, where the evaluating prosecutors referred the case for case build-up, citing reasons thereof.
Then in that case, Your Honor, we have a problem because this is
Oh,
part...
Your Honor,
Your
objection.
Honor, I'm not yet...
Objection.
Kindly let counsel finish.
Because like, as I mentioned a while ago, Your Honor, this forms part of the records of this honorable court. This was submitted as page 10 to 11 of Annex G9. This is part of the court's record, and we also received this. These are not our documents.
That's why I'm objecting,
These are
Your
the
Honor.
prosecutions. I mean, the
Counsel for the prosecution,
documents.
kindly let him finish.
These are not our documents, Your Honor. These are part of the records of the court. This came from them, and they attached this to the articles of impeachment. Your Honor, we have all the right to confront each and every document because that forms part of the charge against our client. Now,
Counsel,
if Attorney Lotoc is saying, Your Honor, if I may just be allowed to
This is now
finish,
a manifestation, Your Honor.
that it was received on February 10. We just want to counter-manifest, Your Honor, that there is a received stamp here, says February 5.
Your Honor, this is not highly...
Counsel, the presiding officer already overruled the objection of counsel for the prosecutors, and I thought you would end up with a question. Kindly proceed with your cross-examination.
So in other words, you deny that it was received on February 5, 2025 as seen here in this document that is part of the records of the Senate Impeachment Court.
Well, first, Your Honor, hindi ho ako yung nag-receive niyan. Then pangalawa, ang nakapirma ho rito ang dating director namin, Jaime B. Santiago, at ang sinasabi niya, on 10 February 2025, this Bureau received the certification dated 05 February 2025.
All right. Anyway, I'll move on to a new point. This certification noted 7 items, and we went through this the last time with Agent Calilong, so I won't delve on that. But basically, just to go through this very quickly, the first point says that there is no affidavit of the person, so no affidavit. The second point is, or the second note is the press briefing conducted on October 18, so no TSN and affidavit of the person taking the TSN. Number 3 is annexes I and K with marking, so no affidavit of recorder and no TSN and affidavit. Number 4, Annex L did not indicate who made such TSN, so incomplete information. Number 5, the affidavit of Juan Patria Morales, so no USB. Number 6, only the minutes of the meeting with several so no affidavit. But I'd like
Oh, Your Honor, that's my objection now.
I'm just reading
Where's
it, Your
the
Honor.
question?
Kindly-
Wait for the question.
kindly
Okay,
wait
I'm
for the
going to the
counsel.
question. I'm just
Thank
laying
you.
the basis, Your Honor. Now, I'd like to highlight note number 7. Please allow me to read that portion, or at least the latter portion thereof. It says there, in the instant complaint, only the NBI executed an affidavit and there was no participation on the part of the offended parties. As it appears, NBI is not the offended party for the crime of grave threats. My question is this. So based on note number 7, according to the DOJ, the NBI is not the offended party, correct?
Based on number 7, NBI is not the offended party for the crime of grave threats.
Okay, very well. So the offended parties, if at all, are President BBM, the First Lady, and the former Speaker, correct?
Yes, sir.
At any rate, all these, the 7 notes that I mentioned, are all deficiencies in the first affidavit of investigation, correct?
It's not deficiency, Your Honor, because the first affidavit we've submitted is substantial in terms of establishing the evidence required. This requirement is a matter of complying the required quantum of evidence required under DC-20. And if I may, sir, the purpose of submitting our referral to the Department of Justice is for preliminary investigation, which under the NPS rules, the new rules under the NPS, the law enforcement agency can submit a complaint affidavit or in fact submit a complaint before the DOJ for purposes of preliminary investigation. The requirement that the offended party should have that complaint affidavit is not an indispensable requirement insofar as the preliminary investigation is concerned. Insofar as the preliminary investigation is concerned.
Very well. Now, based on that answer, I'd just like to point your attention to the portion of this certification dated February 5, 2025, next to the box ticked with an X. Kindly allow me to read if we can highlight that portion. Okay. It says here, and you can read with me, insufficient for the conduct of preliminary investigation and must first be referred for case build-up. So in Filipino, this is my question, I'll do it in Filipino. So in other words, nakulangan yung DOJ, correct?
For purposes, Your Honor, of satisfying the elements, the required quantum of evidence, the DOJ required us to attach the affidavits and other documents like the TSN, sir.
Thank you. And the DOJ itself mentioned this, correct? Or said this, correct?
Based on the certification.
All right. In fact, let me direct your attention to the portion after I quote, must first be referred for case build-up. Can we flash that also on the screen? And allow me to read. The complaint/referral does not contain all the necessary evidence to prove the essential elements of the crime. Therefore, it is recommended that the same be first referred for case build-up. Okay? Now, let me get this straight. I'll summarize first and then I'll ask the question. So the subject incident happened on November 23, 2024, and the NBI conducted fact-finding investigation, as you said. You subpoenaed individuals, conducted interviews, gathered evidence, among others, as you said also, and the NBI spent over 2 months or until January 30, 2025 for this process. Is this a fair summation of what we had just discussed?
I don't think so, Your Honor.
You don't agree. And yet, when the NBI transmitted the case to the DOJ on January 30, 2025, the DOJ found it to be insufficient for the conduct of preliminary investigation.
Objection, Your Honor. Continuing objection as to this series of questions as to the prior affidavit investigation, which was corrected in a February 10, 2025. Continuing objection, Your Honor.
The
Register.
continuing objection is noted. Same ruling by the court. Witness may answer.
Yes, Your Honor. The fact that the Department of Justice
That would be
issued
enough.
another
That would be enough. Yes,
certification.
okay.
Kindly
No,
let the
all right.
witness finish.
We will
counsel.
comply, Your Honor.
Are
The
you
fact
done,
that the
Mr.
Department of
Witness?
Justice issued another certification on February 14, 2025, and it states here that the referral is sufficient for conduct of preliminary investigation and that it contains all the necessary evidence to prove the essential elements of the crime and should be docketed for preliminary
With the
investigation.
permission of the parties, Attorney Lotoc, that's the second certification. that
Yes
you're
po,
speaking
Your
of.
Honor. The second certification.
Counsel for the respondent.
Yeah, we
please.
will go to that. In other words, based on this certification, the DOJ did not affirm the NBI's recommendation, correct?
No, part of the process of evaluation and case build-up, the DOJ require us to comply with the requirements na hinihingi nila gaya ng mag-attach kayo ng affidavit, mag-attach kayo ng TSN, pero wala hong sinabi ang DOJ doon na hindi substantial yung aming affidavit. Ang require lang ho nila, mag-attach kayo ng yun nga, yung affidavit na na-record yung video at then yung TSN, sir.
Well, according to you, but we just
Oh,
read
no, you're
that it was
argumentative.
insufficient. Your Honor,
Objection, argumentative.
Argumentative, asked and answered. Move on, counsel.
okay, that's interesting because there was a 2025 impeachment complaint filed against VP Sara also on February 5, 2025. If you know.
Again, Your Honor, what?
The date is important because there was also a February 5, an impeachment complaint filed against VP Sara also on February 5, 2025. Correct?
Hindi ako familiar.
You're not familiar. That's okay. If I may refresh your memory, this was the fast track 2025 impeachment complaint signed by the
Objection, Your
215
Honor.
representatives.
If a ground arises, a council can object. The term fast-tracked,
Oh, Your Honor.
you are labeling a process made by House of Representatives as fast-tracked. Objection, Your Honor, please.
Counsel, move on and ask your question.
If you know, if this coincides with that impeachment complaint that was signed by the 215
Objection, Your Honor.
representatives.
There's no basis. This counsel,
If you
this
know.
witness, again, already said that he is not aware that on that day there was an impeachment complaint. There's
Counsel-
no basis for that question.
Counsel witness already answered. The counsel for prosecutor is correct. Witness already answered. He's not familiar with the filing of an impeachment complaint on that date.
At any rate, this
Move on.
pertains to the November 23, 2024 video, correct?
Objection, vague, Your Honor. What's the question? Referring to a video. Objection, vague.
Kindly restate your question, counsel.
The complaint. The complaint that was filed against the Vice President also pertains to the November 23, 2024 video.
Objection,
if you know.
Again, vague. Complaint filed on that date.
Well, if he knows, he already answered. He doesn't. Who knows? He might all of a sudden recall. Do you know? Are you familiar with that, Mr. Attorney Lotoc?
I said, Your Honor, hindi ako familiar nung filing nung sa impeachment.
You're not familiar. Okay, I'll move on to a new point then.
Move
Now,
on, counsel.
Now, did you rectify your January 30, 2025 affidavit of investigation?
January 30.
January 30, 2025 affidavit of investigation. In short, the first affidavit of investigation.
We complied with
You
the requirements of the Department of Justice.
All right. Did anybody ask you to rectify?
What do you mean, sir?
Microphone. Use the microphone.
What do you mean?
Did you receive any directive from anybody to rectify that affidavit of investigation?
Objection, argumentative. The question was asked. He said we complied, and then